guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
This is Conversations with the Crawleys. We have conversations about faith, family, relationships, and we do recaps, reviews, and commentary on some of our favorite shows. This one is all about family or Fiancè and with KIOMI and AUSTIN. So if this is content that you enjoy, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, request notifications.
And share.
And we will see you in the comments if you come to the comments. If you don't, we won't see you. Sorry.
We won't see you.
All right. But also, those membership vibes are still happening. Folks are joining as members. Why haven't you joined? All right. So, you know the premise of this show. You got a couple that is having some kind of conflict. Not major. We've had some major conflicts. We've had some minor conflicts. And the family comes together and says we give you our blessing or we don't. So we got KIOMI and AUSTIN. She was a counselor in Japan. He was in the military. She saw him across the aisle, across the bar or whatever.
Had to get them digits.
She was like, I got to find out who this brother is because there's not a lot of them over here. So I got to find out who he is. So he was in the military. He thought that she was the one from the third date. He was like, date one, she cool. Date two, I could see this. Date three, she the one.
She the one.
So they don't really have any drama because they haven't been in person together. It's been long distance, like from that third date.
Right, because they met in 2019, and then they saw each other 2 times in that year again because he was in the Navy.
And she went back home from Japan.
Right, because it was just a summer internship or whatever. And now COVID hit, and the base is on lockdown. Well, she was like, oh no, this is not going to work for me. Now, I can't wrap my head around this. Because if you feel like you found somebody and they're the person for you, your person,
right?
Then how do you decide I want to take a break? Like, what's that about?
Well,
I don't get it because you can still talk to them, you still see them.
But there is that physical connection. So if you're building a relationship, part of it is the physical touch, the physical hug, the pheromones. Let's just get technical, right? So all those things come into play. And so what she was basically saying was that, listen, this FaceTiming, that's good and all, but I need to sniff you out. I need to know who you are. And so
you'd rather be in no relationship or be in a bad relationship or someone that doesn't connect with you? I'm just like,
that might be the way that she found out that he was the one. I can do bad all by myself. I found out, so let me go back to what works. So,
well, yeah, but to me, you're wasting time, right? Yeah. You can get to know him on an emotional level.
Yeah,
it's a year. Now,
but again, they had like 3 dates, and then it was like she came back to the States.
And they saw each other. They saw each other 2 times after their date.
2 times out of 365 days.
He's in the military. That's the expectation.
Out of 365 days. I'm not faulting her. I'm just simply saying.
I just asked the question.
You
really
asked the question. I'm like, I kind of get it because it's a long distance relationship. Long distance relationships are hard in the first place.
Oh yeah, we've done it before. We have to.
But long distance relationships, when you just started the relationship, that's a problem. So, but their wedding plans are pretty much complete. He just got to pick out a tux.
Correct.
But her mom has reservations because y'all don't know each other.
Right. She feels like it's going too fast.
So, in talking with Tracy, she's like, Keone, you're a type A. She's like, yeah, pretty much. Are you a type A to Austin? He's like, I don't know what that means. She's like, no, you're a type B. You're a type C. You're a type X. You don't do nothing.
He said you don't do nothing but breathe.
So Yeah, as you mentioned, she did date another person
for a month.
For a month, he dated somebody else. She was open about this is who I dated. This is kind of what happened with that. He didn't. He was like, "Oh, we broke up. We on a break."
I don't have to tell you nothing.
Who was it? Rachel and Ross on Friends.
Right.
He was like, "We on a break. We done." So I ain't got to tell you jack.
I don't have to tell you nothing. And he's like, I didn't want to be on the break the first time. So
you wanted the break.
You wanted the break.
You chose this break.
And so Tracy asks, well, does this cause a trust issue? She said, yes. I'm confused again. You're on a break, right? So how's there a trust issue?
It's a break.
Right? Because she said, I wanted an open relationship. You want him to be open about telling you when he's in a different relationship? Well, he decided, since you decided, that he's going to do his relationships the way he's going to do his relationship.
And so the woman that he did the relationship with was like, oh, he mine now.
Right? She was like, this is a good catch,
you
girl.
Done messed up.
You should have never let this one go. He got benefits. We got veteran benefits.
Military benefits.
He getting that military for school.
I get that VA healthcare plan.
Okay. You talking about women? I didn't know healthcare plans were big with women.
We can do that VA home loan process too.
Right. She saw cha-ching.
She was like,
I ain't letting go this fish.
You messed up. Big time.
And he was like, oh no, you must let go. I got to go back to.
No, my sister.
I got to go back to this other relationship.
Home someplace else.
She decided to come home, so I got to go back to her. Yeah, boy.
So she brings her mom, her godmother, and her friend. He is bringing his mom, his little brother, and his best friend. And I think the thing that they're kind of saying is that it's important is that everybody just at least gets on the same page.
Right.
Now, we've talked about, if you've gone back and watched some of our episodes of when we're reviewing this show, one of the things we don't understand is when the family does not meet, because it's like y'all live around the corner from each other. How are the family not meeting? In this one, it's a little more understandable because there has been that long distance. Barely, if we can be honest, KIOMI and Austin have barely met. So
right, because they met in 2019
so
and then COVID hit.
For their family to have met, yeah, that's a leap. So this one at least makes sense why the family has not met.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. It makes sense. And they do want to meet each other. They want to know more about, your family always wants to meet someone that's going to be significant, and you're saying you're going to be in a committed relationship. Yep. So I think that's another thing for KIOMI's family. They're like, we want to know if the boy can talk.
Yeah, because the mom is like, I'm a little surprised at what she chose. And she said what she chose. She didn't say who she chose. She said what she chose. She's like, I didn't think she was going to choose that. Because as parents, we have an idea. Now, our kids are a little confusing sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to go for. I just kind of take it as it comes.
Whoever comes, we're like, okay.
Okay, that's interesting. Cool. And then try to find out as you talk to them, okay, what do you see in my child? So I think for them, just him opening up, talking, you do want to make sure that the person your child's going to be with is going to bring something to the table.
Right.
And make sure they can take care of each other.
Right. Because the mom is like, it's not a matter of necessarily who he is, but she thought she would bring someone home that was more of a leader of the relationship. And even her godmother's like, she doesn't see them really as a match. Is kind of what she was saying. So then his friend also was like, he was kind of shocked. He's like, I kind of was taken aback by, just how quickly things escalated as far as this relationship.
He said he didn't tell him. I guess he just like, you gonna be my best man? Like, be your best man for what?
Yeah.
My wedding. So it was like he didn't know.
Right. Again, communication. So then they have the family meeting. They are 7 months until the wedding. Okay. Her friend is saying that her concern is that she wants the families to mesh. Okay. The godmother is like, y'all got to be on the same page. And then the mom is like, she wants to see Austin take a leadership role. His brother's like, I'm concerned about the closeness that Austin has to her family, that it's not really there. The friend is saying, I want you all to understand the magnitude of what you all are committing to. And then his mom is saying, I just need y'all to know each other. Yeah, y'all got to figure out who each other is, because this is just, 2 dates at McDonald's and a date at Red Lobster. That's not a whole relationship. So then they get their assignments. She gets the better assignment because they at least get to eat cake.
Right. While Austin, he's laying out
He's
what's
doing
important
vision
to him.
board.
He's doing a vision board.
Can we get some cake over here?
Right? Can you just bring some outside?
Listen, do some cake Jenga or something.
Cake Jenga.
So she does say that she wishes that he didn't take things so personal. Again, what we get from Austin is that he's kind of quiet, reserved, doesn't speak a lot. And in many respects, KIOMI is kind of the leader in their relationship. We find out that his dad passed away while he was in Japan, so that also brings up some issues, just as far as him not being able to fully be there while that was happening. And then he had some questions as to kind of even his dad and his mom's relationship and how that was going.
So so as we kind of go through this process, right? And each family meets and they're giving him, as she called it, a vision board, because Tracy asks for him to put what's important to him. And he puts church, his faith, marrying KIOMI and having children, being financially secure while he finishes school, because he has about 3 more years.
He's got about 5 more years, because he's got 2 more years on his bachelor and then 3 years for a master's program.
So, there's a lot of time within that.
That's a lot of time
to be able to accomplish all this stuff. But he lays out pretty good it seems like the family understood and didn't really have a lot of questions in that, but glad to hear from him and what he had I feel like it's like he needs a safe space for him to be able to be vulnerable and to open up. So he was getting that while they were there. And then for hers was more of them writing questions and answering about, like, it was good, like being supportive to Austin when he lost his dad. What would she change about him? Because she indicates too that she would rather have him to be more of the leader and speaking up. But at the same time, she's in control of certain things. So what I hear her saying is that she would like for him to put her in her place. Like, hey, I'm gonna handle this, and I got it. Right. And that's the only way someone who says they want to be in control but not in control at the same time. So, and so she feel like she answered the questions and they really took in what she was saying. And the mom was like, just make sure your guys are communicating and let him, I think it was the friend says, he can lead if you allow him. But you got to allow him to lead. Because he said, we played sports together, and he spoke up. He has the ability to. He has the ability, right? Because when people allow you to lead, then you have the voice to do so.
Right. And he doesn't strike me as someone that's going to force his way into leadership. But if he's given the opportunity, he could take that leadership role, right? So then day 2, meet again with Tracy, and Tracy, asks the questions, and one of the things comes up about his relationship with his brother, that it's very surfacey, that they don't really talk a whole lot. And, I know from, even my relationship with my brother, we don't talk a whole lot, but when we talk, right? So what? So, but their relationship, he's wanting, she's looking at saying that there could be more for their relationship.
Right. Yeah, because it's important. I think that's something that me and my sister had to always work through, and we're still working through. Because it's just, again, it's being surfaced because we were 5 years apart. So while I'm in high school, you're like still in elementary school.
Right.
And then
when you went away, for both of us, when we went away to college,
they were still in high school.
They were still in high school.
You know, and so never really feeling that connection because of the age difference, but wanting to connect. But at the same time, you're just like, I'm just so ready to leave house.
Yeah.
Like,
and then also because we lived away from both of our siblings. So
true.
Yeah.
As well. So I know it can be hard, but you have to keep trying and making the effort.
Yeah.
And letting the person know, like, hey, we are here for you.
Yeah. And then, so KIOMI is talking about she has to be the mediator between him and his brother, but also it's important for him to find out why his parents basically did not continue their relationship, why they messed up, right, where they fell apart. And it's also, I think it's just important to get that understanding because cycles are a thing.
They are.
Right. And so understanding what may be in your family background, your family lineage is important so that you don't recreate the same things over and over again.
That's true.
That's true. I think both of us are children in some respects of divorce, right? Your parents, were divorced.
They were actually divorced.
Right. My parents, my father divorced his first wife before he met my mother, or before he married my mother, I should say. And so therefore we both have had divorce in our family lineage in some way, right? And so understanding what that was and what impact that was and how that came about was important for us so that we could say we're going to break the cycle in our relationship in our lineage as we move forward. So he talks with his mom about why they didn't work out.
And you can tell it was emotional internally, but they showed no physical emotion.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And so you can feel the pain coming from their voices, especially with her saying, I was trying to wait till you kids get older before I made any decisions about doing anything about myself, right? And her feeling the guilt of staying with someone who wasn't treating her well.
Right.
But she felt like it's something that needed to be said. And even though he had his own reservation, you don't want to know, but you do want to know.
Right.
It's the hard place to be. Is like, I need to know what happened so I can feel like I can move on in a sense.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like the pain of discovering it and what it is. Yeah. But
it's like you want to know the answer, but you really don't want to know the answer.
Yeah. But they hug it out, right? And she was really in tears. I could see her, she was hugging him tight.
Yes.
So I think it was like a load off her back that she was going to able to share.
Yeah.
And I think he felt to the most, what we could see, that he was releasing something too.
Right. He at least got it and understood it. Then also, they have their second dinner. And again, they're going around kind of talking through the day, talking through what's happening. And then they go out. She talks with him and his brother. KIOMI talks with him and with Austin and his brother. And basically the brother's like, yeah, that's cool. I want to be closer, but I don't know.
Because I was like, is he saying yes? Or because it sounded like at the end he was more like, I'm on board, but it takes time.
Right.
And it does. It takes a lot of effort. And sometimes it doesn't happen the first time.
And if it's not what you've been doing already or making efforts to do, it's changing those patterns. It's changing those patterns that you talked
about earlier.
Right.
Right. So, but he's open to it. So.
But he's like, look, if I got to change it with you, I got to change it with all my other brothers.
He did say that too, because they have more brothers.
Right.
So trying to understand that. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes when we're trying to change something, we're so looking at it so big, it could be overwhelming. Right. That's another thing. Maybe you do start with one brother. Like if he's the one that says, I want to reach out and have a closer relationship, start having a closer relationship with that brother. Right. And then as that feels comfortable, then you can determine how you can open up to any other siblings you have. Because sometimes even in a big family, everybody's not as close,
Right.
but maybe there's a couple of siblings that you're going to be close.
Yeah, I think that's the thing also, is that your relationship doesn't have to be the typical relationship that everybody says they want to have, but may not actually work for the dynamics, right? And so finding the balance for you all, right?
Right.
And so I think that's the important thing.
Right.
So then they have the final session with Tracy. And she says that she's seen him open up more now than she's seen in all of their 2.5 years together. And that makes sense because they haven't been together for the past 2.5 years.
Well, and then think about it. If you don't communicate well together, now, as we're talking this through, how well did he communicate when they didn't see each other?
Right.
Because I'm like, if you having a hard problem making paragraphs and you're the only person talking and there's nothing being reciprocated, yeah. That'll make a hard relationship.
Yeah, I don't, because we had already been married for a while, and we had to do long distance for a little bit when you moved here, and I was still back where we were. But even
it was hard.
It was difficult,
yeah.
Right? When I was dating in college, I had a long distance relationship, and yeah, I wasn't ready to have a full blown relationship then anyway. But it was difficult because it's like, and this is before FaceTime. This is before, I could just pick up a phone and text and what have you.
Right.
This was, we had to almost schedule times on the phone. And then if I was out and I came in and my phone was ringing, I had to star 69 to get you on the phone. So it's difficult in a long distance relationship, one, but two, the fact that they didn't have depth, in my opinion. They didn't have the length and depth of...
Right. Based off of what we were seeing from him.
Yeah. So,
and even the best friend was like, man, you talk more than I've ever... I was like, how do you knew? So the question would be like, okay, how do y'all became best friends? Because I know a lot of times when the person is more laid back and reserved, they tend to be good listeners.
Right.
So people come in their lives and they have, friendships, and that other person is just there just listening because they don't talk. So I'm assuming that's kind of his case.
It's strange for me.
It is and it's not. So, but they feel confident that everyone's going to give the blessing.
Yes.
And so they do.
She also talks about how she recognizes that she's going to have to start giving up power.
Correct. That's easier said than done.
Much easier said than done.
Because anyone who has the power, guess what? That goes back to trust. And not talking about what the little thing they had going on, but just trust in general. Because here you go. You have another woman who never had her father in her life. It was just her and her mom.
Yeah.
So if I can control my environment, then I can control not being heard. I can control making sure that everything, all the expectations that I have in my head can get met.
Right.
And unless she kept working on that, and because so to me, I don't know if Tracy says this, but I would always try to tell people, continue to get counseling. We have, I hate to say it, yes, you addressed it, but we've made them self-aware.
Right.
That's what that 3-day environment.
Right.
It didn't resolve issues.
Right.
It brought it to your self-awareness.
Now you got to work through it.
Now you got to do all the process and the homework to break that. And to me, thinking that the weekend resolves anything for any of these couples would be ridiculous.
Yep.
But saying, now I'm self-aware of what I do, how can I go back home, get the therapy.
Well,
my job.
They might have to some physical because they ain't been together.
get the therapy I need.
Yes.
To have the tools to do something different.
Yeah. So long story short, they do have the blessing ceremony.
Yeah. Bless, 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 bless.
Everybody good with it now.
I'm blessed.
We're blessed in the city. We're blessed in the fields. We're blessed when we come and when we go. All right, that's enough. What up, Fred, if you ever happen to see this? All right. You never know.
Okay.
Fred might pop through. He might have his algorithm set up for anybody that's singing his songs. All right. So everybody's blessed, the couple. And so then in the end, we see that they're still planning for their wedding.
Right.
Austin has chosen to have his big blue tux, but he and his brother are still superficial in their communication, and she is struggling to give up control of the relationship. So again, identified issues, but nothing really was resolved.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
So, all right. Well, let us know what we missed. Let us know what you thought. Let us know your comments, and we will see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed. Bye.